Hey there, welcome to Learn About Astronomy, and this is the moon and planets for the week of January 27th, Monday, January 27th, until the Sunday, February 2nd, 2014. It's incredible, we're already getting into February and winter's marching on. So on Monday, January 27th, we have at sunset Mercury on the southwest sky that will this week actually give us one of the best night evening apparitions of the year. So it's time to watch for Mercury in the southwest sky as the sun sets as a bright about zero magnitude star. A pair of binoculars is of course useful, and also you'll need to have a really nice view of your western horizon, so you gotta really check that out and make sure that you get your view. If we check, the sun is setting at around 5:15, around 5:10, 5:15 on that week. So it's really getting better, a little past 5 p.m. And Mercury is actually setting, and this is at 45 latitude north, in the southwest at 1825, at 6:25 p.m. So that means that you'll have a full hour before Mercury sets, a little more than an hour. So as the sun sets, it's going to be time to watch for Mercury in the low southwest horizon. Then we have Neptune, very low, very difficult to see. Uranus is slowly getting there into the glare of the sun as time goes on, so it's going to get more difficult and difficult to see. Of course, Jupiter, the king of January, still there, very high in the east, southeast as the sun sets, and basically there pretty much all night. March rising a little past 11 p.m. So we're getting there. Mars is going to have a great apparition, a great evening sky time in February and March. So it's going to be a great planet to look at. Then we have Saturn that's rising in the east at around 1:45 to 2 a.m., around 2 a.m. And so this is the celestial dance of the planets. On Tuesday, January 28th, early morning, Venus and the moon are going to be very close together. The moon will be a very small waning crescent, and it's going to be really close to Venus, so that's something you can check for. I would say around 6:30 a.m. On Tuesday, January 28th. If you have to get up early to go to work, want to take a look to your southeast sky and check out the crescent moon and Venus rising. And then we're back into the night sky for Tuesday, January 28th. Sun sets past 5 p.m. now. Days are really getting longer, and it shows. It's a great week for Mercury. Mercury getting to its best on the 31st, January 31st. It's going to be the farthest from the sun. So it's really time to get those binoculars or that small telescope and check out for Mercury in the southwest. Roughly half an hour after sunset, you should easily see it. If you don't have any instruments, take a look with your unaided eyes. Just look into the southwest and you should see that Mercury will be there in the southwest as a zero magnitude star. It's quite easy to see when it's so far away from the sun, as long as you have a really unblocked southwest horizon. Here it's impossible if I don't go to the park because of the trees that I have in my southwest. Then we have Neptune, almost impossible to see. Uranus, southwest, pretty high as the sun sets, but getting there, getting away slowly from actually the really getting closer to the sun actually. Jupiter, king of the night once again. Mars rising around just past 11:30. Then we have Saturn, and we are in to Wednesday morning. I told you that Tuesday we had a very close crescent moon to Venus, and that crescent moon is still going to be really close to Venus again on Wednesday, January 29th. So if you are, of course, early riser and want to check your southeast skies, you'll see very bright Venus, and use Venus to actually get to the moon. That's going to be kind of hard now to see because the crescent moon will now be very small, and it's going to be kind of difficult to see the difference. And so the sun is now setting, rising actually a little earlier every day. We are now just below the 7 a.m. mark as we are entering, getting to February, of course. So on that evening of Wednesday, January the 29th, we have Mercury, really nice in the southwest. Once again, take a peek. It's time or never. The second passage of Mercury will be later this year, and it's going to be much harder to see because it's going to be closer to the sun's glare. Neptune, almost impossible. Uranus, high in the southwest, and still possible to see if you have binoculars or telescope. Around 7 p.m. Sky's going to be dark enough, and you should see a Uranus green little, very weak little star shining about 5.7 magnitude in the western skies. So you can try for that. Jupiter, king of the night, very bright star, very nice to see. Why not take a look? Close to the two stars of, it's in Gemini actually, so it's close to Castor and Pollux. Mars rising once again around 11:15, 11:30. Earlier every night, so Mars is really going to be getting good attention in February, a little later. Saturn rising at 1:30 in the morning, and we have the Venus rising about 5:30 a.m. So if you get up early, going to work, and you notice a very bright star in the southeast, don't think it's a plane or anything. It's now Venus getting slowly better for its morning apparition. The moon pretty much out of sync because it's going to be new on, basically it's going to be the new moon somewhere around January 30th, so impossible to actually view, of course. As we go into Thursday, January 30th, as the sun sets, we are in the new moon. No moon to see during this period. Mercury in the south and the southwest or west southwest. Very easy to see until about 6:30 when it sets. So basically about half an hour after sunset you should be able to see in the bluish west-southwest sky a bright little star. That's Mercury. It's actually very close to Neptune, but Neptune's impossible to see because of it's just so dim. Uranus in the southwest. Jupiter, still king. It's in the east as the sun sets and gets through the night sky, going high and high, very high in the south. Actually, at around 10 p.m., Jupiter is king very high in the south sky. So if you look very high up towards the south from your position, you should see Jupiter shine very brightly at 10 p.m. So this is for pretty much all week. You should see Jupiter very high at 10 p.m. in the south. Mars rising 11:30, about 11:15, 11:30, just past 11 in the east, and completing the night sky. Saturn once again around 1:45 to 2 a.m. Venus rising earlier and earlier as it's really getting farther away from the sun, so you'll get it earlier every morning now that it just passed the inferior conjunction, and only a few weeks ago it was still a very bright evening sky, planet, actually evening star to see in the west. We're still in the newish phase of the moon, so nothing here to see. It's almost impossible to spot the moon at this time. As we go into January 31st, the last day of January, incredible, but yes, the last day of January, we will have an extremely thin moon in the west-southwest. It will be only a few hours old, and this is one of the very hard to see things. What you can do is try to spot Mercury. Now on January 31st, we have to note one thing. Mercury is at its best. That evening, if we move towards, let's say, just about 5:45. Now, let's go about half an hour after the sun sets. Half an hour after the sun sets, we will have Mercury low in the western sky, and we actually have a crescent moon that's going to be extremely close. So if around, let's say around 5:35, 5:40 p.m., if you can spot with binoculars Mercury, then why not scan the horizon? There is a slight possibility that you might spot a very thin, just about a day old crescent moon rising in the west-southwest sky. So take a look at that. And this is cool because these are things that you can see even in a big city, as long as you have a low west-southwest sky horizon. So go to a park or go to a friend's house if you know that someone has a very good view of that general area. I plan to actually go out with a pair of binoculars in a local park here on the evening of January 31st. And so after you can, start looking, and why not take that evening and try to spot different little things in the sky. Lots of things to look at, so why not take a look at our videos? That's going to show you what we can look at. Then we go on the evening, we have Uranus that is in the southwest, and we have Jupiter already high in the east as the sun is setting and in that evening. Why not take a look at Jupiter while you're out watching Mercury and the very thin one-day-old moon, as you might actually see it's the 4 biggest moons of Jupiter with your binoculars. You can take a look at our videos that we have online that show you the moons of Jupiter if you want to compare. Mars rising just around 11 p.m. to the east. Saturn around 1:30, 1:45. And as we go on, we have Venus now rising really early and earlier all the time, rising just a little bit past 5 a.m. now. So it's already quite high actually in the sky as the sun rises around 6:50 a.m. Saturday, February 1st, incredible, but yes, we were going to be Saturday, February 1st already. We have a very high in the west-southwest, not very high, but low in the west-southwest sky. You'll have Mercury, still very nice to look at, and now a bigger, but still very thin crescent moon actually, just to the upper left of Mercury. So this should be quite easy to look at actually. So why not take a peek at Mercury? Try to find it around 5:45 p.m. and if you find it or not, well, at least you might actually spot a very thin crescent moon just above Mercury. So this is going to be a nice thing to watch, this little dance of the crescent moon and Mercury towards January 31st and February 1st, 2014. Uranus in the southwest, still quite high. Jupiter in the east, getting higher and higher, and already very high as the sun sets. We have, of course, Mars, that's rising around 11. So these are the planets for the night. Saturn rising around 1:30 a.m. Saturn very nice through binoculars, and we'll talk more about it as time comes by. As Saturn becomes later on this spring an evening object for the summer. We have planet Venus rising earlier once again all the time. Pluto very close to Venus actually, but unless you have a really big telescope, it's almost impossible to see. Finally, on Sunday, February 2nd, 2014. Still time to watch Mercury, and don't wait too long because Mercury is going to go down to this and be basically in the sun's glare very, very quickly in February. So it's, you know, like the week of February 2nd or 3rd will be probably one of the last weeks if you want to spot Mercury before it goes down to the sun's glare and will basically come back as a morning star later in the month. The moon now getting much higher in the sky, so as the sun sets we have a nice little crescent moon hanging in the southwest. That's going to be in the upper left of Mercury. Uranus close to the moon and even closer on the 3rd. So Uranus is to the upper left of the moon if you want to spot it on that evening. Jupiter high in the sky, of course, and as the night progresses. Mars rising once again earlier every night around 11 p.m. Saturn around 1:30 a.m. and finally Venus in the morning of February 3rd, Monday, February 3rd. So this is the planets and the moon for the week of Monday, January 27th, 2014, all the way to Sunday, February 2nd, 2014. If you enjoy our videos, hey, why not subscribe to our channel? Maybe you want to share it with your friends and with other people and try to give, make them learn a little more about the sky and get interest in what's happening in the night sky. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, why not ask away. And hopefully you enjoy our videos and we'll come back to learn about astronomy. Thanks for your company and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.